The wind over the Arizona plains carried a strange cry that night. Not the howl of a coyote, not the whistle of a hawk, but something human, desperate. The Carter brothers, Luke and Eli, had been driving cattle back toward their ranch when they heard it. Luke pulled his horse to a halt, eyes narrowing toward the canyon ridge where the sound echoed again. "That's no animal," he muttered. Eli, younger and hot-headed, loaded his rifle. "Could be an ambush. Apache's been roaming these parts." Again, but Luke's instincts told him otherwise. Something about that cry cut through the night like pain and fear combined. Against Eli's protest, he urged his horse toward the sound. At the bottom of a narrow gulch, half buried in dust and blood, they found her, a young Apache girl. Barely 16, trembling and gasping for life. Her clothes were torn, her leg wounded by a bullet, and her eyes wild, terrified, reflected both fire and innocence. "She's one of them," Eli hissed. "We help her, we'll have a whole tribe on our backs." But Luke dismounted anyway. "She's hurt, Eli. Doesn't matter who she is." They carried her back to their ranch, risking the night. The storm rolled in. Thunder cracked like gunfire above. For 2 days, she drifted between life and death. And when her fever finally broke, her eyes opened to find Luke watching over her. "You're safe," he said softly. She didn't answer, just stared, confused and wary. Her name, they later learned, was Ayana, meaning eternal blossom. Weeks passed, and the brothers nursed her back to health. She worked quietly, helping around the ranch, her silence speaking more than words ever could. But the scars in her eyes told a deeper story. Her family had been slaughtered by a raiding band from another tribe, and she had been left to die. Luke grew protective of her, admiring her strength, while Eli struggled with fear and guilt, afraid that harboring her would bring revenge upon them. Then one dawn it happened. A group of Apache warriors appeared on the ridge, faces painted for war. Luke and Eli stood armed, ready to defend their land. But instead of attacking, the leader stepped forward and bowed his head toward Ayana. "You saved her," he said in broken English. "You saved the daughter of our chief." He promised peace, and that day, an unlikely bond was sealed between 2 ranchers and an Apache tribe. Months later, Ayana left, returning to her people with eyes full of gratitude and unspoken words. Luke stood by the corral, watching her disappear into the desert haze. He didn't know why it hurt so much, only that something inside him felt unfinished. The dust settled, the years passed, and the brothers went on with their lives, never realizing that the girl they saved would return, not as a memory, but as their destiny. 18 long years had turned the Carter Ranch into a legend of its own. Luke, now a hardened man in his 40s, carried the silence of 1,000 sunsets. Eli, married and widowed too young, had lost the spark in his eyes. The world around them had changed. Railroads stretched across the land. Towns grew where deserts once breathed emptiness. But the brothers, they remained the same. 2 tired souls haunted by something they couldn't name. One evening, as the horizon bled gold and crimson, a lone rider appeared. A woman, tall, graceful, wearing an Apache cloak over a worn leather saddle. She rode with the stillness of the desert wind. When she dismounted at the Carter Ranch, Luke froze. Her eyes, those eyes, pulled him 20 years into the past. "Ayana," he whispered. She smiled faintly. "You remembered." Time had carved her into something extraordinary, half Apache, half spirit, her presence both calm and powerful. She told them she had returned not for debt or memory, but destiny. Her people were being pushed from their lands, again, this time by soldiers and greedy settlers. "I came to ask for your help," she said, her voice steady yet soft. "The men who once saved me are the only ones I trust." At first, Eli refused. "We can't go against the army, Ayana. That's suicide." But Luke's heart stirred with something deeper than logic. "She's family," he said. "We don't turn our backs on family." The days that followed were filled with tension, danger, and awakening. Luke found himself drawn to Ayana in ways he couldn't fight. Her courage, her spirit, her untamed beauty. And yet he knew destiny wasn't always kind. When the final confrontation came, a brutal night under the burning sky, Luke and Eli stood beside Ayana's tribe against the soldiers. Gunfire split the desert, flames rose high, and the Carter brothers fought like men possessed. By dawn, silence fell. The soldiers retreated, but at a heavy cost. Eli lay wounded, Ayana kneeling beside him, tears streaking her face. "You saved me once," she whispered. "Now it's my turn." She risked her life to heal and protect them, standing like a guardian spirit between the dead and the living. When the smoke cleared, the land was theirs again, for a while. Ayana turned to Luke, eyes shining with something unspoken. "Our paths were never separate," she said. "We were bound the night you found me." Luke reached for her hand. "Maybe destiny isn't something we wait for," he murmured. "Maybe it's something we fight to deserve." As the sun rose over the desert, the three of them stood together, bound by blood, sacrifice and love that had survived across time. And as the screen fades to black, the narrator's voice echoes softly.